Oh, is my mic not muted? Sorry. Oh, I was supposed to stop it there. So hello and welcome to the Fourth Wall Enclave Podcast. I didn't do my... Hold on, let me do this real quick. Shh, don't tell anyone else. They can't hear me yet. They don't know. They don't know the truth. Open plugin interface. Alright, that should be good. There we are. We're here on the Fourth Wall Enclave Podcast. This is the first edition. I'm your host, Paggigalo. And and here joining me today is my co-host, to be here expeditely every time. Who is my co-host? Can I hear from my co-host here?
Is it me?
Yeah, it's you. That's you.
That's my first episode.
Yes, it's you. I told you were the co-host. Dude, you're not following the script, man.
We have a script. Oh, shoot.
So yes, my beautiful co-host here, Emperor Grinnar. Feel free to introduce yourself real quick.
I'm Emperor Grinnar. I have birds.
All right, there we go. He introduced himself. No, keep going. I said keep going, dude.
Oh, I couldn't hear you.
You're putting him on the spot.
Yeah.
Give yourself like 30 seconds. So.
I'm like I guess I'm the leader of the Fourth Wall Enclave.
Leader of the bunch.
He's the leader of the bunch. You know him well.
Yeah.
I help people do things, and I play video games.
All right. That's a good description, I guess. And our first guest here today, Miss Herpy Derpy. Feel free to introduce yourself real quick.
Hi, everyone. My name is Herp Derp Derpy, and I just really like board games and video games, and I just can't wait to talk about all of that love. So thank you for having me.
All right. And our second guest, if he is available at the moment, Mr. Average Gatsby.
Hey, what's going on? I am average, and that is my story. There you go.
Wow, that's a great story.
Yeah.
10 out of 10.
So
10 out of 10. Yeah.
So today, we're going to be talking about just basically Twitch and video games in general. And that's basically going to be the general theme for every single show, because that's what this group is basically founded off of.
Wait, Twitch and video games. I thought this was a cooking channel.
Oh, dang, you're right.
Dang it.
I really love cheese.
Aren't keys just amazing?
Keys
They help
or
you
cheese?
unlock doors.
Oh, keys.
No, keys made of cheese.
Oh,
What about cheese made of keys?
that would probably hurt.
Yeah, I don't know if I don't know.
At the very
if
least,
that's
you get
much.
your...
That's very true.
I don't keep stalling. I'm trying to pull up the thing right now. Hold on.
Keep
Our-
stalling.
The secret's out.
itinerary,
Yeah. Okay, I got it.
You had one job, son.
I did have a topic that didn't get added.
Oh yeah, you told me about that, but I didn't add it. Sorry.
Nah, it's okay. I should have
Whoops.
thought about it too, but
Whoops.
I forgot.
Guess whose fault that is? Not mine.
Mine.
Who has two thumbs and don't care? This guy.
So yeah, do you see the visual vomit that I've made on the screen?
Yeah.
I think
MS
that
Paint,
depends on perspective.
I actually saw you aligning the two different colors.
Yes, I forgot to put the name of the thing at the top, so I did that quick.
The FWEP.
Very classy.
Yeah. So, yeah. But anyway, what topic? Does anyone have a topic they prefer to talk about at first?
Yes.
You guys got it. I trust you.
Yes.
Mhm.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Why is Reed Richards the worst?
Okay, no.
superhero?
Yeah, okay, you're being muted. You're being muted. All right, time to mute you, my friend. See you later, Emperor Grinnar. It's been nice of you to join us today.
The
take
position
care,
for
buddy.
co-host?
Fine.
The position for co-host has opened up.
Yeah. We pay nothing. So yeah, you can feel free to sign up anywhere.
And you guys
Yeah,
pay
yeah.
more than
Or
my
you can just
research
steal some of
pays.
Emperor's bird feathers.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can pay you in bird feathers for the position that I just vacated.
Yeah. Save
Well.
yourself.
Well.
No, for legitimately.
Okay.
Hype, like
Hype
companies that hyped up games at release and those that failed, those that made it. Me personally, Monster Hunter World has exceeded the hype. Like, I didn't really know what I was getting into fully, other than, really nice action and fighting and crafting and stuff like that. But then there's more,
Yeah. So any games in specific you had to talk about that were like hyped up negatively?
Mass Effect Andromeda.
Yeah.
Just Andromeda
That's
being,
true.
definitely the biggest one.
Very big bait and switch.
I still like the game, but it was like, it did not at all live up to that hype.
Oh no, I know when I played Andromeda, it was basically, it was fun for like the first 12 hours, and then you realized every mission was just the same thing with a different, backstory, and it was like, okay, do this thing 20 times. And it's like,
Yeah, more or less.
So yeah, that was definitely again, that was a little overhyped, but
Part of the problem with that was they tried to make a Mass Effect game without the Mass Effect team. Because EA was like, no, you guys are gonna go make Anthem.
Yeah.
So
well, I mean, hype beasts can also be powerful, like we see with Monster Hunter, or like last year we saw with Breath of the Wild. Kind of got huge.
Yeah, Breath of the Wild. I think I haven't played it.
I think
but...
it followed through.
Yeah.
I personally enjoy it, but I definitely see where so much of the criticism can come from.
Well, like, it kind of goes back to this thing, and I know Crowdcat isn't always the best person to talk about, since some people like his work a lot. Other people's, they're not too much of a fan of it. They're like, he kind of cherry picks a lot of things. But a lot of the times when we see from E3 or from these big gaming shows, they go, "Oh yeah, let's show you guys this live gameplay demo," and then it's literally just a movie, and it's like, this is not a video game. This is a trailer for
yeah,
and it's it doesn't follow through.
Yeah, look at Kojima's stuff like that he's been.
I'm just gonna say this: I don't know what your thing is on swearing, but I'm just gonna say I have no effing clue as to what the anything that Norman Reedus swallowing a baby. I'm just
that was the best video we have ever watched together.
That was something. I'll just say that was definitely something.
Yeah, and for reference, my channel is marked as mature, so swear all you want.
I'll take note of that. Yeah.
But I was really surprised when the new trailer for what is it called? Death Stranding, I believe.
Yeah. I think the coolest thing I saw of that was somebody overlapped two of the trailers, and then it ended up showing if you actually watch both of them side by side, the trailers overlap with each other. It's really cool. If you haven't already seen that, I'm actually gonna take a dive and see if I can find it real quick.
Okay, cool. Yeah, but I was really surprised at how well it was received and how well Kojima's been just building this hype beast up to this game that we don't even know what it is at this point.
Yeah, that's just amazing marketing.
Yeah. It's a little crazy, but we'll see how it develops. I don't know if it's coming out this year. No, let me search it up. Death Stranding.
Yeah,
clickety clack.
Clickety clack. It is not this year, so do not know when that's coming out, but there's already so much hype around it.
The question is, you build up hype so early, is that also a bad thing?
Most definitely. Well, okay.
Yeah, Monster Hunter World didn't start building up the hype, and they were getting ready to. They had already done some promos and stuff like that, but then they started flowing that cash into the marketing right at that point, and then that came out, and it's like, wow.
I think it was more negative press almost for them, because a lot of the series looked changed without really the quality of life improvements, and then 2 months before they started showing off some of the quality of life stuff, and then it was like, oh wow, okay, this is actually a good game. Before that, it was
when
negative
they said
hype.
that it was just an MMO, I was like, oh, this does not look pretty. And then I looked more at it, and I was like, okay, actually, I really want to play this game now.
Yeah, They definitely, there was a weird situation around that, but it definitely skyrocketed the last 2 months. So yeah, the same with Dragon Ball Z. Well, not the same really. It's Dragon Ball Fighters. Yeah. It had hype like the whole time since it was announced for the past like year.
Most stuff.
Yeah, and that came out and it was also received very well. So I mean, hey, we're starting off the new year pretty great when it comes to hyped up games. Speaking of,
yeah, unlike last year.
Yeah.
Yeah, most games that got hyped up did not fare well.
Well,
to say the least.
Speaking of, since this is the first time and it is the end of the month, it's the first podcast at the end of the month, I'm going to kind of list off some of the bigger releases of this month, and then we can talk about what some of our favorites are so far this year, which, I mean, I'm pretty sure we already know what they are, but anyway. So, starting off, on January 16th, Street Fighter V, the arcade edition, came out for PS4 and PC. A little bit later, Kirby Battle for the 3DS on January 19th, and a new Digimon game actually released, Digimon Story Cyber Sleuth Hacker's Memory, on January 19th. Then a little bit later, we got Lost Sphere for the Switch, PS4, and PC on the 23rd, along with Impatient, which is like a prequel to Until Dawn, I believe, for the PSVR. Then we got Ionoclast, which is a Metroidvania with story stuff that has been in development for like 5 years and a lot of people are looking forward to. And later on the 25th of this month, we got Celeste, which I've heard a lot about. It's like a Meat Boy platformer. A lot of stuff involving that. And Dust and Salt also came out on that day. And then on the 26th was the big boys, Dragon Ball Fighter Z and Monster Hunter World. And finally, just yesterday, the City of Final Fantasy, the new like version in that series released, and I've been hearing good stuff about that.
I didn't know that came out already.
Yep, it came out yesterday for the PS4. I've been hearing good stuff about it.
Yeah, PS4 is getting a lot of stuff.
Yeah,
I know.
We could talk about that as well.
Xbox One has some of the same games, but like the population for PS4 is way outweighing it.
Funnily enough, actually, no, I'll bring that up later, but. First off, since I've listed the games, so everyone, I'd like to go around and ask what your favorite games so far this month have been. So far, definitely Monster Hunter World is number one, and haven't played anything else from this release. So, how about you, Grin? What are your favorite games of this month?
Same boat.
Okay.
I've only played since Monster Hunter came out.
Since Monster came out, you cut out?
I've clocked like 60, 70 hours.
I was just saying that because you cut out right as you said that.
Again?
Yeah.
Are you kidding me?
But it's fine. We heard the important stuff. You clocked in about 60, 70 hours in it already.
Yeah.
It's ridiculous, man.
About that, yeah.
I got about 50 hours, I think, so yeah. It's a lot, and that's only been out for less than a week, so I mean, it's a lot of time. How about you, Herp Derp?
I've actually not really have got around to playing any of the games from like this month that it came out, because I'm still trying to get through the backlog of games that I got like last month.
Yeah.
And stuff, and
I hear you.
But yeah, I have heard that the Kirby game is just kind of horrible.
Yeah,
that's a shame.
I believe people...
it's like a mini game collection.
I believe people were like, "Why wasn't this just included in the new Kirby that's going to come out for the Switch anyway?"
Yes, that is also what I've heard.
So it's like a dumb.
It's basically like 10 mini games, but from what I've heard, every single one is very similar to each other.
Oh.
That's unfortunate.
Yeah, I know. I'm a big Kirby fan, so it's very sad.
Yeah, same. I don't know. I looked at it, I was like, hey, that looks kind of fun, but nah, it's not good.
Yeah, I would say just stay away from that one.
Wait for the Switch version.
Yes.
And lastly, you, Mr. Gatsby, what have you played this month?
This month, the two games that I've been playing a lot of are Dragon Ball Fighters and Slay the Spire. I told myself I wasn't going to buy that. And I was like, it's early access, doesn't look like a lot of gameplay. It's $16. If it was $15, $15, it's that magic number, man. But I said, you know what? I'll just buy it, see what happens. And
I forgot to mention that because it did kind of come out this month, kind of, but it's like still early access.
Comes out, but yeah, it's honestly for an early access game, it runs very well. It has 2 characters you can play from, and both of them are really interesting.
Yep.
2 completely different play styles, and it's honestly a lot of fun. Yeah. I've been having a lot of fun with it. It's my replacement for Binding of Isaac right now.
Yeah, I haven't played it myself, but I've watched a couple hours on it on Twitch, and it is actually a very interesting card. You know, they melded it well, I feel like, the card-based system with the roguelite system and stuff like that, so, yeah.
For the people who are listening, Snecko Eye never betrays. The Snecko is your friend.
I want to just say I have 70 and a half hours.
Oh my god! On Slay the Spire?
No.
And
Monster Hunter
World.
I was going to say, Grant, calm down!
No, a game that I really liked that came out, I think, a month or 2 ago was Battle Chef Brigade. And that, if you haven't played it, it's kind of like a cross between an action platformer with Iron Chef.
What?
Yeah, I'm not kidding. That's
what was it called?
This sounds
Battle
like right
Chef
up my jam.
Brigade.
Oh yeah, I've heard of it.
Published by, I think, Adult Swim Games, but it was developed by some indie developers, and it's got
I've heard about this one.
Art style and stuff. It's really neat, but it's way fun. It's not very long. I think I'm 3/4 of the way through the game. I haven't played in forever. But if you're into weird, quirky games with food-related things, there you go.
Yeah, this was on my to get on my Switch list.
Yeah, it's on PC and Switch for.
You cut out again, Chris.
Are you freaking kidding me?
Hey, you're not having a good time today.
Try using
the
Press to Talk, maybe.
I think it's just the heads.
That's unfortunate.
Yeah.
So, anyway, moving on from the games from last month, let's talk about the games in this next week from February 1st to February 6th that are going to come out. First off is Battalion 1944, which comes out for PC. I believe it's early access, though, and it's the first. And that is a game, I don't really know what it's about, but it's developed by Square Enix, I believe, so I don't really know much about it. There hasn't been really
Is
a
it
lot of press
developed
around
by
it.
or published by?
I think maybe published by them. But yeah, I don't know.
They moved themselves in.
They moved themselves into you cutting out on your microphone.
I'm gonna just throw everything out the window. I'll be right back.
Well, if you're still here, Grin, I know you're gonna be excited for this next thing I'm gonna list. Final Fantasy 12, the Zodiac Age. Do you play 12 or 14?
I play 14, but I have played 12.
Yeah, the Zodiac Age comes out for 12, I believe, on the February of the 1st as well.
12 is my favorite Final Fantasy game. And I'm...
You're going to get a lot of hate for that.
I know, it's a very unpopular opinion, but I love Final Fantasy 12. I get the storyline is Star Wars, I get that, but I don't know, it's my favorite gameplay, honestly, of a Final Fantasy game. I just love it.
Well...
Do you love it because you can just let it sit there for 10 hours and it plays itself? Constantly respawn?
No.
Or you?
Yeah.
No.
Roasted.
Calm down, dude. Anyway.
I didn't know.
I
didn't know I was going to get attacked on this podcast.
Personally, I like the game.
I've never played either of the MMOs just because I've played too many MMOs in my life.
I tried it once and I said, you know what? This isn't for me.
Anyway, on the 1st, there's also 2 Switch ports coming out for some indie darlings from the PC. Night in the Woods and SteamWorld Dig are being ported over to Switch.
SteamWorld Dig is so good.
Yeah. And SteamWorld Dig 2, I think, is already on the Switch, so...
Yes, it is.
Now you can get both of them on one system, and it's portable and on TV, and hooray. Joy of gaming. The second, UFC 3 comes out. Oh boy. Those of you UFC
games,
fans.
Yeah.
Sports.
Have you seen that one Twitch streamer? He was streaming under a UFC game or whatever. Where he was live streaming the fight and he had a controller out.
Yeah, that's it. That was an interesting one.
That was amazing.
And finally, the Tuesday before we will have our next show, the 6th, is going to be the Shadow Colossus remake for the PS4 is coming out. So
Ooh.
that's gonna be an interesting one. Expect to see that all over Twitch for the next week.
That's gonna be something that I would want to play, because I actually never played the original, but I've always wanted to.
Yeah, the remake, it looks pretty good. They showed off like a comparison video between the original PS2 and the PS3 like remaster, and now they're showing the remake, and it looks a lot better. You can actually like see in the distance, and it's not just a bunch of random crud. So, hey. But that's it in the next week in gaming, and that's pretty much it for games in general. We're gonna
games just end.
Yeah, games end now.
Video games are over.
We're gonna pivot to a topic though about games. Believe it or not, a topic by Herp Derp herself about asset flips in the Steam Direct issue. Can you feel free to inform those of them uninformed? Obviously not me, about this thing you wrote down.
So basically, Steam Direct was sort of Steam's new way to sort of make sure that a bunch of asset flips did not get put onto Steam, and that it was harder, or so they say, for people to put them on because of a $100 fee that they could recuperate.
And that was put in place because they got rid of Greenlight, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, it was a replacement for Greenlight that was supposed to help clean up Steam.
Okay. So, it, obviously, by the timbre of your voice, I can tell it did not work very well.
No, not at all. It's honestly worse at this point.
Well, that's just great. I know. And that's a sarcastic grade. I hope people realize, but I know Jim Sterling and Total Biscuit and all them. They basically the British reviewers. they all take this Steam stuff very personally because they've been doing it for years and complaining about it. And I think like Steam came directly to them to ask them like how they could make a better system, and I don't think this worked, obviously.
No.
So, like, how many games? I need to look at this. Steam Direct.
A ton get uploaded a day, I'm sure.
Because I know before on Greenlight they needed a system, and there was still a ton with that system of like people having to upload it. So it just feels like now that you just have to pay a $100 fee, there'd be even more.
Oh yeah, it's gone up exponentially. I am sure.
And I know the debate around is Steam Direct. They were debating making the cost of uploading a game to Steam $5,000, like upwards of $5,000 and downwards of $100. Oof. So I don't know if they'd made it $5,000 if that would have stopped the problem, but
no, I just think it would have been a lot harder on smaller indie devs that actually want to make good games.
Yeah. So I mean, at least they had it for $100 for those people, but obviously it's being abused at the moment.
Yeah,
so.
Of course. And it's being abused a lot. Like it's very hard to like see like, oh, what's good now or what's just an asset fit for people who don't know the assets that are used commonly.
Yeah. Well, we don't really have much other to say on the topic, considering Grin left to go do something. And
I would love to comment on that. I'm from what I'm understanding from what you're talking about.
Go at it.
It sounds like it's I guess they're taking games that already exist and they're just like retooling them into a new game, and they're using that to sell as their own.
More or less.
Kind of in a way.
More or less, yeah.
So there are these Unity asset stores. So like Unity is the
okay, yeah, I know.
Yes, yeah, and you can basically just buy assets there, pay $10, and you get like an asset pack. And basically people are just buying that asset pack, not doing anything different with it. They're like not adding their own personal touches. They're like not changing it up to make it their own. They're just selling the asset pack as is on Steam and saying it's their game.
I see.
Yeah.
There's cool because like I don't want to call somebody's hard work a pile of shit, but there's a couple of hot piles of shit that people have been serving up on Steam as of recent, and I just look at it and I'm just like, what the like Like,
Yeah.
what the front door is going on? Some people have some really weird ideas that they're throwing all over the place. Specifically in the green light section. It's just like, man, I don't know. I guess it's somebody's cup of coffee, but...
Yeah. I mean, some people do it for their job. Look at Jim Sterling and stuff, who just looks through green light as half of his job. Or he did. Now I don't know what he does. He just looks at shitty games that are uploaded to Direct, I guess. So yeah. But anyway, I wanted to pivot this topic onto virtual reality, but Grin decided.
I'm back, by the way.
Oh, okay. Now I
welcome
can.
back.
Yeah, sorry. I went to swap headsets, and the other one was like, nope. Gonna be even worse than before.
So Grin, I'm gonna pivot onto your topic, which is about since we're talking about shitty things being, moved on way too fast and stuff like that. Let's talk about virtual reality and the cost and the fun in it and the downsides and yada yada yada. So take it away, Grin.
Okay, so if you want to get into VR, it's really expensive.
Mm-hmm.
The cheapest being if you already have a PS4, that is, to go PSVR.
And they already announced the Vive Pro as well, which is going to be like $1,000, which is ridiculous.
Yeah, and then there's also like that one that you just slide your phone into the headset as well.
It's like $20 at Walmart.
Samsung VR, whatever.
The third world VR, okay.
Yeah.
I have one of those, so.
I do too, honestly.
I mean, it is $20.
It's just like I saw it at Walmart and it's $20, and I was like, why not?
Yes.
Not to advise people to use illegal substances, but I have friends who they very much so rally around that thing. They're like, "It is so cool! It's so cool!" I'm just like, "Are you sure it's actually cool, or is it something else that's happening that's making you think it's the next hot thing?" Huh?
It's cool if you don't know what real VR looks like.
Yeah, most definitely.
Yeah, it's cool if you don't know what cool is, I guess. I mean, some people's favorite game is Final Fantasy 12.
Wow.
See?
I kid.
Oh, Lord. So anyway, now that we've talked about the cost...
You're not going to change my opinion.
It's fine to have opinions.
Uh-huh.
They're wrong.
Yeah, sure.
Well, Grin, if you could write me a 3-page essay about what the positives and the downsides of VR, and then read it out to me right now, that'd be real helpful.
VR is pretty limited, so it's like this really expensive rig, and then there's not a whole lot for it. PSVR, like I said before, is getting a lot more. It's cheaper, but Sony is feeding it. Like they're hyping it up and stuff, advertising for it.
Like so many devs are, like the Valve and stuff and all that, Microsoft and.
So at PS Plus, every month, they've been adding a PSVR game to the free list.
I didn't know that.
So that Sony's like definitely help, and like there's a demo disc or something like that comes with it. It's got like 5 or so games that are pretty short.
Probably just like 20 minutes,
Yeah, probably about that much. I think one of them might be like an hour long, at most.
Yeah, they're probably just like.
Yeah, it's basically like an interactive tech demo.
Yeah, tech demos for new consoles, basically.
And from what I heard, it's really cool. There's one that's like it puts you underwater and you're in a cage, and then a shark attacks the cage.
Oh, I would die.
You don't you just sit there, but it is freaking terrifying.
Yeah, I bet.
Even just being underwater like that would scare the hell out of me because that's one of my phobias.
Yeah, same here, honestly. But also, VR still just needs a lot of work, especially if big name games want to get it. Like, think of the issues that Fallout 4 had when they decided they wanted to try VR out.
Honestly, on that topic, whenever they're like, "Oh yeah, Fallout 4 for VR support," I was like, "That's really cool." And then they go, "But you have to pay for it." I'm like,
"Yeah,
listen here, son."
And apparently, like, the tutorial is not that good at teaching you how the VR works, and like, it was really buggy the first 3 days.
Oh, that's unfortunate.
Yeah, like guns would just fall apart if you like shot them.
Yeah, the aiming mechanic is really wonky.
Yeah.
Hopefully when if I should say when, because it is planned to hit PSVR, because I'm planning to get into VR. And I know a lot of people hated Fallout 4, but I really enjoyed it. Maybe not so much for the story, because a lot of what I like about Fallout is mostly just
you can't
exploring and interacting with people.
I've actually just recently played Fallout 4. I started with New Vegas and then I stopped playing New Vegas. I played Fallout 4, played more of that probably than New Vegas, but I don't know. I feel like New Vegas had more interesting concepts than Fallout 4 did, and now I'm playing.
That's because
3.
it does.
And I feel like 3 is better than Fallout 4. I don't know.
Yeah, Grin, you can't.
It was written. New Vegas was written by a
separate company.
It was written and developed by Obsidian.
Yeah. But it was largely written by Chris Avallone, who got one of his largest starts during Fallout 2. He knows the franchise, but he's also an amazing writer. Like, if you've ever played Planescape Torment, it's heavily saturated with him. And then you can play other games that he claims to be only the editor and the main writer for one character in the Tides of Numa, whatever. No, wrong game. Sorry, he was also part of that, but Pillars of Eternity. That's it. Pillars of Eternity. And you know the Grieving Widow. So he wrote her part, but he like edited a lot of the text of the rest of the game. I'm like, dude, this game, like, you just play it and it has a lot of familiar ties, just because you can know that he like inserted himself. Basically, it's just Chris. Like, he's an amazing writer, and I'm super duper envious of how imaginative, driven, and just all around like awesome. Like, you can talk to him on Twitter. He's really, really cool.
Well, Grin, I'm just saying, you can't come on here and make fun of people for liking Final Fantasy 12 and then say
what I like Fallout New Vegas too,
and then say you like Fallout 4 and not expect to be ridiculed. You know.
I just feel like the thing with Fallout 4 is Fallout 4 has the least amount of replayability.
Yeah.
Out
you
of
play
all
it once
of them.
And I mean, like, it's less replayability than Skyrim, which has the most predictable story of all time. It's not that good.
Skyrim.
I'm not going to give spoilers.
For Skyrim, though, comes from the modding community making the game just that much more interesting for players to experience.
Yeah.
I want to say one thing about Skyrim. No spoilers given, but I have never completed that final quest.
You don't need to.
I just can't do it.
Much.
Yeah, I just can't do it.
Don't worry, you don't need to. Anyway, we were on the topic of VR before we went off on this big tangent.
Speaking of which, Skyrim VR is getting a lot.
No. We're pivoting off of Skyrim VR and Fallout 4 VR, which I've heard are good, and Doom VFR as well. But we're gonna pivot.
Actually, I heard that one. You spend more time like looking at your like mission objectives than you do actually playing the game, and they dumbed down the like the viscera and the
It's probably because if they didn't dumb down the viscera, you'd literally just have blood on your screen every second.
I mean, I'd be okay with that.
Let's go.
I would be really interested if they ever made like a VR Splatterhouse.
Ooh.
Well,
but,
Anyway, we're going to pivot onto a different subject. Speaking of Bethesda and, all their games, they have a lot of multi-platform titles. Oh, look at that zinger he swapped over.
Oh boy, they do.
And Mr. Gatsby actually provided a topic about a very large topic about multi-platform titles. And he gave 3 different examples. So we're gonna break them down.
I don't remember any of this.
For the first example, you talked about staggered releases. For instance, with Monster Hunter World releasing on PC towards the end of this year. So,
and that's the one I'm going to grab. So I'm in pain.
The heartbreaker.
Yeah, it's very painful for PC gamers. Luckily, I have a PS4
I know.
though. So.
That's the one I'm waiting for too. Like I can't play it on PS4 because
Honestly,
I don't have one really.
They kept talking about it, and I was like, I'm so excited for this game. I can't wait to play it. And then they go, well, we're not going to have a PC beta. I'm like, it's okay. I'll be able to play it on the 26th. And then they're like, we have another beta, but none for PC. I'm just like, it's all right. It's okay. We can still play it. We just have to wait. And then they go, it's not coming out till fall. I'm like, okay, you know what? Listen here.
Well, actually, they'd already said that it wasn't coming out.
Did they? Oh my god!
But then they explained why. It's like, we already knew why. You don't have to keep rubbing it in the faces.
I didn't hear about it until then. They're like, it's going to be for it to be a port, and I'm like, okay, unless this is like the single greatest port of all time, and like I download the game and it gives my computer a cup holder or something. Like, no, there's no way that you need 3/4 of a year to optimize and port over a game. Like, well, even if it's a crappy port, I mean, like Dark Souls 1, like that port, the game is fantastic, but you have to admit that the port was really, really poorly handled, and hopefully they amend that for the, when it gets the remastered or whatever. But
if they do the remastered port terribly, then I think
if I get up and it goes, Undead Chosen One, open the door, and it's like, I'm just gonna be like, no.
And the game just like lags and like you glitch through the wall and die, and it's just like, no, stop this.
If I see more Xbox controls on my screen while I'm playing mouse keyboard or anything else, I'm just gonna throw a fit.
There's your problem playing Dark Souls with mouse keyboard, but
Well, I'm saying more or less the fact that the game there's different controller settings you can use, and it only is optimized out for Xbox controls.
And that's all the Dark Souls game though. Is like if you play with a controller, play with a controller, it's so much better than comparing to play with like mouse and keyboard. It's just they aren't tuned towards that.
There's a reason why my right bumper doesn't work anymore on my controller. It's because I played a lot of Dark Souls.
Yeah.
That was like me, but Hollow Knight. My right bumper broke after that, and I had to buy a new one.
Mm-hmm.
Such a good game.
It is.
I want to point out that the Dragon's Dogma port was pretty good.
Yeah. I actually have a roommate who played a lot of that. He said it was amazing.
It was really good. Like, I had it for both PS3 and PC, and it runs really well on PC. There's a few problems here and there, but namely, it's mostly because they upped the frames to 60 instead of keeping it at 30, because a lot of PC users are like, oh, damn it. But a lot of physics engines are tied into the frames for whatever reason. I'm not a programmer, so I don't understand it. I've been told it makes sense, but I'm like, blah, 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 blah. And when you up it to 60, the physics get really wonky. So sometimes you'll shoot a dude, and he will just fly off in the sky. He will just break orbit. Like,
I've heard about that.
He's gone. He has become at one with the stars.
Team Rocket's blasting off again.
Lord.
Yeah, it's amazing to see it. Like, I was like, I did the heavy draw or whatever as a Strider, and kapow, and he just like, I could see him going off. It would have been better if like Griffin had been flying by, so I could get a little bit better perspective.
Well, anyway, going back to the topic real quick. I know I'm very, very worried about staggered releases because as a lifelong Kingdom Hearts fan, every year, every year for the first half of the year, it's like, oh man, I wonder if Kingdom Hearts is going to come out, and then second half of the year, it's like, oh man, I wonder if Kingdom Hearts is going to come out next year.
And then they come out with another 60-minute game demo.
Yeah. Well, the thing is, I don't think...
Or they were like, here's the side game for the Game Boy Advance.
Okay, we get it. But yeah, I don't think there's ever been a Kingdom Hearts game that hasn't been a staggered release where it's in Japan like a few months earlier. So there's always that worry that they're going to announce Kingdom Hearts 3 coming out, like November this year, and it's like, and actually coming out like April next year for North America, by the way. It's like, oh. So yeah, that's constant. I wake up with cold sweats in the middle of the night thinking of that, so
Capcom did a good with that, where it released worldwide on that day.
Yeah, and also
mean, granted-
Nintendo with Pokemon does that as well with
Yeah.
their Pokemon games. Yeah, because they have you pick from a list of languages just right as the game comes out.
Oh, yeah, the original game didn't come out for like
No, not the original ones.
two.
Two, I think.
No, it's like 7 years later because
that
it came out
was-
originally in 1995, and then it came out
Oh,
to
that's
like
true. Yes.
2000 or something like that.
Well, that was gaming in the 90s, though. Don't port anything over because people in America won't like it. Basically. So.
Mario 2 was too hard.
So, anyway, moving on to the second subject for multi-platform titles. You also pointed out, Gatsby, there's different problems for different platforms. And the example you gave was Overwatch on PC had extreme problems with Widowmaker because of the easy aiming, while in console they had problems with Torbjorn because of the turret's instant shooting and firing and stuff like that. So,
Man, I'm really glad you wrote all this shit down because I must have been doing something. Yeah, there's this popular WebM that people would post all the time on, and then you can insert whatever internet meme factory you want in this location. Where basically it was a Torb and it was a Winston and a Bastion, and the Bastion was trying to turn to shoot at the guy, and the Winston's literally walking in circles, just tasering him, because the Bastion can't move his aiming any faster because he's playing on a controller.
mm-hmm.
Whereas obviously if you're playing on a mouse keyboard, you can, throw your mouse halfway across your desk and then, haha, you got him. But they ended up they nerfed, at least in the initial releases, they nerfed Torbjorn in console, but then on PC they had to nerf Widowmaker, and it was purely because it's two different types of control schemes that people are working with.
Yeah, I remember reading about that and like how there was like a whole huge thing on the Reddit, and they were like, Torbjorn is just too disgusting right now. People can just go 5 Torbjorns on a team, and literally there's nothing anyone can do because they just instant aim, and you can't react to it. So yeah.
I always thought that was interesting. That it's just like, you have to do so much for that. It's kind of.
And are there any other examples of that you can think of? I mean,
not
problems for
particularly.
different platforms. I'm trying to think of like something on PC having a different issue than something on console. And stuff
I
that.
guess the biggest thing I could think of, and now that I'm thinking about it, this might be that third point that's lingering that I still can't remember. It might have been Batman Arkham Asylum, or whichever one was the PC release that had the. It had a lot of issues. I'll go with that.
Arkham Knight.
There you go. To the point where it just straight up didn't even run. The game was dead on arrival for PC, and a lot of people bought it, and a lot of people were very vocally and rightfully mad about how big of a fumble that was.
Yeah, I definitely remember that because I played it on PS4 and I was like, man, this game's pretty great. And then I went over and it was like, this game sucks ass. And I was like, what?
I also heard that Stardew Valley had some issues, like not enough to make it like unplayable, but because it's a cursor game, they had to figure out how on the Switch to get the control sticks to like move the cursor as well as your character. And I apparently they had like a really weird solution that was kind of hard to figure out the first time you played. Yeah, it's very weird because it's like you have to like make a game that's so heavily for a PC game for a game that does not even use anything from a PC. So how do you do that smoothly?
I tried to when I first played Stardew Valley, I tried using the gamepad because it's easier on my hands and my wrists. And no, it was not a thing. Like half of what you could do with the mouse keyboard, all the numbers and things, you could not actually do with the controller at all. Like there was no physical possible way to do it.
I didn't even know that. It's pretty neat. I mean, like, it's not neat that it happened, but it's neat that, like, interesting problem-solving.
I like your pain.
Problem-solving situations, etc., etc. The last topic you actually wrote down for me was you were wondering, I think, if there were any examples of games that release on multi-platforms and actually have the ability to unify the groups of gamers and like make a stronger community because of it.
Oh, cross-plat.
Yeah.
Rocket League.
Rocket League is definitely
Yes,
a
Rocket
big
League,
one.
very true.
Final Fantasy 14 kind of does that, but that's on platforms, not the
Yeah, I don't. Other than Rocket League, I don't really know. I just know Rocket League was a big flagship for this, and then nothing else really followed.
Yeah.
Yeah. I definitely remember writing that, though, and it's kind of like a lot of times the console communities and then the PC communities, they're very separate. And at least as far as fighting games go, because I'm really enjoying my fighting games, it's kind of disheartening sometimes because for the most part, most people play fighting games, at least for this generation, on PS4. Last generation, it was the Xbox 360. This generation, Xbox One kind of dropped the ball really hard, and we don't want to talk about that. But people still do play fighting games on PC. Now, tying it back to Dragon Ball FighterZ, they broke the mold. In short, they broke the mold. They had 43,000 people on 43,000 unique people on the game on PC, which is basically unheard of. And it kind of brings this idea of people are playing the game so much to the point where they actually had to make additional servers for people to join in lobbies. And it's simply put because everybody usually plays fighting games, at least the fighting game community usually plays it on PS4. That's the quote unquote the tournament standard. So it's really disheartening because sometimes I'm like, I really wish I could play this with people who have a PS4. I have friends who, they bought it on PS4 and they bought it on PC, so they could play with both communities. And I know that sounds insane, and it kind of is, but it's something that actually happens. And it's really unfortunate that it has to happen, but simply put, it's just because people, they want to play their fighting games.
Yeah.
And they want to play it with somebody rather than just playing it against computers, which is, sometimes you just kind of have to deal with it.
Yes, speaking of fighting games, Smash Brothers for the Switch, where are you at?
Give it.
See you never.
I would be so down.
I would be
Pretty sure everyone would be so down.
Yeah, honestly.
Nintendo, come on, get on it.
We know you're listening.
I want to talk about a little bit of hype of Nintendo games, actually.
Okay.
We saw the trailer for what even game is that? The
Dark Souls Remastered on the Switch.
Mario Rabbids.
Oh, Mario Rabbids Kingdom Battle.
Yeah, that one.
Title.
So that was pretty hyped, and then Mario Odyssey came out, and then everyone forgot about it. Like everyone's playing Mario Odyssey instead.
I don't know about that. I don't think so, Tim. I don't know. I had a couple people who had some really good time with Mario Rabbids. It was like a hidden
I would
gem
play
for
that
some.
game,
Yeah.
but I absolutely love strategy games, even though I might suck at them. But this one doesn't actually
I'm the
punish
same
you
way.
for sucking at them. You could just play it again, until you win, or you can go try something else. I think that's really neat that you can do that. And yeah, but then Mario Odyssey came out, and people are like, "Oh, nipple run."
No,
Yeah, I mean-
God,
Gotta get that
I love the fact that is a thing of nipple percent speedrunning. Oh
Yeah.
my God. When I saw that, I was like, what exactly is this? And how are they doing this game in 10 minutes? And then they did it. I was like, oh, Jesus Christ.
Well, I never played the Mario Rabbids Kingdom Battle, but it's basically just like a dumbed down XCOM, right?
Yeah,
Yes.
kind of.
Yeah, basically.
Kinda. Every character has their own abilities, though, but the play style is very similar to the new XCOM series.
I remember reading that it was they limited it so you had to have a rabbit on your team at all times, though.
Yep, you have to have a rabbit and you have to have a Mario character on your team.
Yep.
So you mean I can't make my team all annoying rabbit boys?
Unfortunately, no.
Or fortunately.
I mean,
That's
isn't
what I
Mario an annoying rabbit boy? So,
I don't think so. Gosh, I never actually Well, actually, I have
Mario
seen him
would
with his clothes
say-
off since we were talking about Mario Odyssey.
Yeah, that's what I said. God.
As Mario would say in one of his Mario Party taunts, "You stinky."
Speaking of which, there's a
No.
game that I was super disappointed hearing about was Mario Party 10.
yeah.
Oh, top 100.
no!
You mean,
The top 100?
Yeah.
The top 100, yeah.
That
Yeah.
was
That
crashed
was
and
so
burned.
sad.
All I want is a Mario Party game with good mini games in it again. Is that so hard to ask?
Yeah. Yes.
Or how about when Nintendo makes a game that's supposed to be played online, the servers
it
don't
work.
constantly crash.
Oh yeah,
Like,
you cannot
constantly.
get through it. You cannot get through a single game.
That would
Yeah,
also
and they're gonna
help
start
do it
charging
online
soon,
correctly.
so
Wow,
Oh yeah.
that
Uh,
puts a hamper on my desire to get a
That's
Switch.
part of the reason why I didn't want to get a Switch in the first place, because they're like, oh
Yeah.
yeah, it's free to use the online right now, and I was like, right now. I don't like that word, right now.
Oh, yeah,
what does
like-
that mean?
they pushed it back
I-
because
my
people were so
Splatoon 2
angry.
days.
They pushed it back because people were angry, and they were like, "Well, we got to make a reason
Sorry.
that this is like useful." And now they have like
So-
this. I'm pretty sure they opened it up to it as like a wide library of old NES and SNES titles that you can play every month if you have it. So it's like how the Microsoft Gold and the PS Plus stuff give you free games, basically.
Yeah.
So
I don't know.
they're trying to do
I
that,
mean,
but
they do that with every single console. Though. It's like I can play NES or SNES games on any console you have ever released at this point.
it's like I can play it on the PC right now for free. I mean,
Yeah.
Exactly.
realistically.
Well, it's that the whole NES minis or whatever, and then you have a whole handful of people coming out like, yeah, well, guess what I could do? I could just do a Raspberry Pi and call it a day.
Yeah.
Why are people spending, hundreds and hundreds of dollars on scalpers when you could just
Yeah.
do this?
Speaking about the Nintendo hate train, dude, why are they limiting our free speech on YouTube and Twitch? What a bunch of assholes, am I right?
Yeah, they're still doing that, aren't they?
Yeah.
Yep, they're still
they go back and
demonetization,
forth like constantly
anything.
about it. Like, why can't you just make
Yeah.
up your minds? Either you hate it or you love it. Just get over it. It's
For
part of the
what?
problem is live streaming is not like really a
Well,
thing.
Live streaming is
For-
there's no laws really
for
anywhere
games.
about live streaming.
But
So-
in like Japanese culture, they're like really weird about it, and that's why Persona 5 was blocked and still is
Oh.
blocked.
it was blocked in America, not in Japan. They could stream
No.
it freely.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
so weird.
It was blocked in America.
We don't want people to get spoilers. And it's like the game has been out for almost a
Well,
year now.
Yeah.
That's
Unlucky.
also like one of the funny reasons that Nintendo didn't put a story mode in Smash 4 because like people
Yeah.
spoiled
Well,
all the
it wasn't-
cutscenes online.
It wasn't Nintendo, it was just Sakurai, which is the
Oh,
creator
that's
of the
true.
series
But
and Kirby
I
and
think
stuff.
They were just lazy.
Sakurai, the thing about Sakurai is I kind of feel sad for him because he's kind of like devoted his whole life to gaming and he's kind of like left his family behind and stuff like that. So you can tell he
lives as a hermit.
he said this is the last Smash that he's doing and you could tell he's kind of done with the series. So
Yeah.
whether or not he actually wanted to make a story mode or not, I think he just kind of was done at this point and was like, I'll just make some
Yeah.
hackneyed
He has
excuse so I don't have to do it.
senioritis.
I don't know if
Senior
he's gonna go back to making Kirby's and stuff or whatever, but yeah, I'm pretty sure he's done making Smash now because he pretty much has like gouged out his life. So unfortunate, but
Shoot, I just had a topic that was really good. It was about Nintendo.
uh-huh.
No. Yeah, it was partially about Nintendo. So Shin Megami Tensei main series is basically been moving to Nintendo products. Like we saw that with the DS with Devil Survivor, Strange Journey, Devil Survivor 2, some other one I forget what the hell it
Well,
was.
I mean, that's the thing with a lot of Japanese series is they have a an underhanded kind of like not really underhanded. I don't want to make it sound like Nintendo's being like
Shady.
Yeah, shady. But like they kind of have like, oh, you're not Microsoft is like this big in the West company. Sony is also in Japan, but it's like they're not really a big huge conglomerate from the 1800s that started back then and is like this huge whole thing that owns like this big thing in Japan and they're this huge you know what I'm trying to say kind of. But
Well,
Nintendo, I mean, like they've gotten other like Japanese I mean, look at Monster Hunter. Just until Monster Hunter World, it was always on a Nintendo console for like the past, iterations since the second one. I think was the last one on a Sony console. So,
they made a couple. They made 2 for PS2, and then they made like 2.
I think they made like a side one for like
PSP?
PSP. Yeah, I think they made like a side 1 or 2 for the PSP. But the main releases were all on the 3DS or stuff like that. So.
At least Persona 5 Dancing Star Night will be on PS4 and PS
Persona
exclusive.
is the spin-off of SMT, and
That is true.
It's
And
staying
it's
exclusive.
more popular
to
than
Sony.
SMT is the thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is. But SMT 5 is coming to the Switch, and then Strange Journey Redux, which is the remake with whole new stuff. There's going to be lots of extra content and revamping and voiceovers and stuff that for the 3DS, and that's really cool to me because I love Strange Journey. Strange Journey is actually my favorite SMT game out of all of them. But it was like it pinged me that like up until a certain point, the SMT main series was all Sony. Like both of that and the spinoff for Persona were all Sony. And then they're like, nope, we're with Nintendo now, but you can keep Persona. And it's like, blah, 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 blah.
Yeah, I mean, like they had Fire Emblem, whatever.
Well, that's owned by Nintendo.
No, they had the Fire Emblem X Shin Megami Tensei game. What was it called?
Oh. Are you talking about Persona Q or something like that?
No, it was Shin Megami,
Fire
not
Emblem
Persona.
Warriors?
No, it was Shin Megami, not Persona. It was like Fire Emblem.
Fire Emblem Warriors, right?
No, that's from the people who made Dynasty Warriors.
Right. Okay. Yeah.
What is it called? Fire Emblem.
Well, there is a Persona Q game, which is like Etrian Odyssey.
It was Tokyo Mirage Sessions Fire Emblem, which was a Wii U release, and it was actually one of the because the Wii U doesn't have a lot of stuff. It was actually probably like one of the best games on the Wii U.
Holy moly, Sir Carlton spoke. Sorry, I just want to point this out. He's been quiet for like 6 months. Wow. Like, this is the first time he poked his head out. Hi, Carlton.
But yeah,
Hello.
It was Shin Megami Tensei X Fire Emblem, and it was called Tokyo Mirage Session #FE. So, and it was like they.
Oh yeah, I actually know that game.
Yeah,
My brother played a lot.
They
of
were,
that game.
the students or whatever, and then their personas or whatever the fuck they're called in Shin Megami Tensei universe were Fire Emblem characters. So it was like one of theirs was Chrom, and then
in the main SMT series, they're just demons.
Yeah, they were the Fire
basically
Emblem
it's all like a pop star theme too, and it's really weird.
It was pretty good, I have to say. I played
was.
the whole game, so it was pretty fun. But
yeah. And then how do you guys feel about like weird spin-offs of spin-offs? So like Persona is a spin-off of SMT. We just said
Persona
that.
dancing all day.
There's like
the dancing ones. Yeah.
Dancing ones and the Arena Fighter.
The thing is, it's not even just
Dancing Star Night.
It's so weird. Because then they also did this thing with King of Fighters, and they're gonna make like a King of Fighters with like idols and stuff. I'm like, I don't get this.
Yeah, weren't they?
The thing is,
wasn't Persona
fine with it as long as it's a good game?
And wasn't
do what you want, have fun.
Wasn't Persona doing something with like the Blaze Blue people as well? And like
there was like a fighting.
It's like Blaze Blue, Persona, like Ruby from fucking Rooster Teeth, which is okay.
There's a whole other problem with that. At first, I personally love fighting games, and I have a pretty good group of friends who.
I think I know where you're going with this.
But holy shit, did they drop the ball? They said we're gonna have 40 playable characters, and then I'm like, that sounds reasonable. It's a good number to shoot for in a game, in a game with 4 different series crossing over. 20 of them are DLC.
Holy shit!
Half of the game is DLC. I'm like,
so was it
over the line? I don't know. I don't know off the top of my head,
and also the thing about that is,
it was made by the
DLC characters look better than.
No, it wasn't made.
No, not Narcissus. It's who is that?
Wait, what were we saying? Whose characters?
Go on, Herpy Derp or Herp.
Oh no, I was just saying, I feel like that the DLC characters look more fun too. Like they're locking the fun ones.
Well,
on
yeah,
the
no,
that's how it
DLC
works.
door.
It is ArcSys.
It is ArcSys doing it.
and they are going to be working on that. Yeah, so Arc System Works is doing it. As to why they're doing it like this, I have no idea. It's so
money.
weird. Oh, Melty
probably
Blood
the
is the last
publisher.
one. Or no,
It's
Under
probably
Night and Birth. Under Night and Birth, yeah.
Hmm.
And yeah, it might be. They might just
Publishers push their developers to do really weird, stupid stuff. Like Pag, I know you really like this, the Hitman games.
Oh,
there was,
yeah.
there was a Hitman game
Oh.
coming out, and Square Enix was telling the developers, "All right, you got to make it episodic." And then a few months later, "All right, we're not doing episodic anymore. You're just gonna make the full game as one
I think-
giant lump."
Okay.
And they're like, "No, we're going back to episodic." They're like,
Contra-
they just go and flip flop. Like
Controversial opinion, but I think actually the new Hitman benefited from being episodic. Just
Absolutely.
But
honest.
you know,
Like,
I think
as
I
long
agree.
as it's not like Half-Life 2, where it's like, oh yeah, we'll release episodic because then we can get you chapters faster.
yeah,
And
we'll release
we get-
episodic so I can get stuff to you faster. And
We get 3 chapters
Uh-huh.
and then nothing for 10 years, nothing
But
except for a meme.
I believe the Hitman devs have now left Square Enix and they own the Hitman property now because Square Enix benevolently gave it to them because there's no way they could have bought it from them. So they're gonna do they said they're gonna do season 2 of the new Hitman, which gets me rock solid. So because the new Hitman is it is really good.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I honestly, at first I was like, I don't really know if I'm feeling this.
Yeah.
And then on Steam one day, they're like, buy all of it for 50% off. I'm like, yeah, there we go. That's a game.
And the episodic releases were actually really good, and they allowed them to get time to create all these neat levels that were massive and I forget what they're called, but they're based off real world locations, and they're just these huge massive places with hundreds of NPCs, and it's just
And the way you can play it is different. You could play it different every single time if you want.
I want to touch back on a different
I was
about
gonna
the
say we
spin-off.
should get back to
well,
move back a little
like,
bit.
We were talking about
We've gone on
weird
7
spin-offs.
different tangents.
And we were talking about fighting games. How about Dead or Alive Beach Volleyball?
Okay, well
Okay,
we're
new
gonna
one is
mute
coming
you.
out.
We're just
A
gonna
new one
stop
is coming
you.
out.
No. You listen here.
Don't
Dead or Alive.
don't diss my waifu, okay?
No. Dead or Alive is an amazing fighting game, and
Yeah.
that game gets
no, it
so
is.
much shit because it's like, it's just a big titty
I've
simulator.
always enjoyed them.
Those fighting games.
I
the only
know
3D
it's a good
fighter I
fighting
love.
game.
Oh yeah,
I just
the
find it
story
really
makes
funny how
absolutely
they made
no sense.
Yeah, I
yeah.
love. It's a good fighting game. I just find it really funny how they invented boob physics.
Yeah, it's an actual. Okay, so in DOA 5 or
Okay.
whatever the current one is,
We don't.
we
get it.
there's a slider for it, and if you put it
Stop.
onto DOA physics, you are not going to be able to play the game because you would be laughing too hard.
Stop.
I had to stop.
Yeah.
I was laughing so hard. It was just so bad.
Yeah,
it was
Beach-
so bad.
Beach volleyball isn't even a fighting game though. It's
No, it's not.
It's like Mario Party
No,
for
it's
that
not.
series. It's like a bunch of mini games with
Oh
just
yipes!
with
All right.
tits and
Wonderful.
stuff, and so yeah.
Bikinis.
I know there's beach
Yeah.
volleyball booty bump game where they bump each other.
Yeah.
With
There's
like,
that casino you can go to.
Mhm,
You
something
gotta
like
get
that.
the gift.
I don't know. I've only seen footage of
the
it.
story for that actually is
And
pretty
Zach,
ridiculous.
Best
I mean,
Yeah,
it's a
it's
DOA
like
story.
Zach from the games or whatever has an island and he
Yes.
invites all the
Yeah.
women.
Zach gets an island, so he puts a resort on it, and then he.
Yeah, it's
he,
the
like,
most
hires
coherent
all-
story.
No,
of
he-
Yeah, it is pretty
DOA
coherent.
games.
But like
Yeah.
at the end of the first game, a volcano erupts and like burns
Isn't
down
that-
his resort.
Isn't that the end of
So he
every one of the
buys
games though?
Another island.
Yep.
Isn't
Yep.
isn't that
Where
the
is he
end?
Getting all the money.
But I thought that was the end of all the beach volleyballs was always the
each one,
volcano
it always-
erupted.
It always burns down. It's like
He's
Hey,
like, oh well,
if
next
the story
island.
is the most
If-
coherent one of any DOA game, why fix it?
Man, people are complaining about Star Wars being the same through editions.
Here's the thing. From Family Guy, how they have volcano insurance. I'm pretty sure Zach is the reason.
Jesus.
That's true. They watch that game and dang, we need this.
Well, I'm gonna pivot a bit off of games. We've talked about games for quite a while. I want to get onto some Twitch talk, and
Mhm.
gonna pivot onto a gaming thing that happened a little recently. So we're going to talk about AGDQ 2018 and what happened there. Gatsby, you brought up this. I don't know if you specifically know what you brought up before.
I
but...
don't remember.
Well,
you see, I am a simple man. I live my life one step at a time. I put my pants on 2 legs at a time. Okay. I could think of a couple of reasons why I brought it up.
Well, I mean, we can just talk about it in general at first because it was a big event, and
I'll say this:
they raised a lot for charity and blah blah blah. So.
And I think for a lot of people, at least for there's a guy named Apollo Legend on YouTube, and if you're any part of this speedrunning or anything, or anity who watches it, you know who he is. Mm-hmm. And he makes a lot of very good videos, a lot of top 10s, a lot of top 5s. Puts a lot of work into it. And he made a video, I believe it was for 2015 or 2016, where he basically said, this is the reason why I don't support it anymore. And then more recently, somebody else made a video, and let me see if I can find it, but basically stating that this is why it is a good thing and this is why it's a bad thing. But he gave 2 really good points of view for it. One of the biggest points of view that everyone always brings up is that, the money doesn't all go to cancer charities. And yes, that's true. That's kind of how it is for a lot of charities. And if you actually look and see how much money goes, because they release their tax form each year, you can look at it and you can see exactly what different places are getting it, what kind of money is being spent out, how much money they actually have in their budget. And for some people, they are like, they have, I think it's $11 million packed away. How could they be doing that? And it's like, well, because at the end of the day, they still need money to operate. They're not just going to set up a building and, and then boom, there it is. Now, do I think it's okay that there's the lady who came up at the start who was like the VP of something. Do I think it's okay that she got $600,000 off the top? No, I don't really think that's really super appropriate. Or maybe it was 600 or 60. I don't want to quote these numbers. Yeah. But essentially, I don't think there's like 5 or 6 people who were on that payroll who got, thousands of dollars. And I think that's wrong. But at the same time, they're doing a lot of good. And when you compare it to a couple of other programs, it's not nearly as bad. That being said,
poisonous.
Yeah, it's cancerous. But yeah, this year they had I'd say maybe 4, maybe 5 pretty good speedruns, and the rest of them.
Yeah. I mean, welcome to
the rest of them.
I feel like this year had one of the best awful blocks, but I just love
the awful block was the best part of this year.
Yeah.
I'm gonna put it out straight.
I think my favorite blocks were definitely awful block was pretty up there. What's his name? The guy who did the Star Wars run, the Star Wars Knights of the Old Republic. That
was a good run.
He is so fun to watch.
I know.
And I really appreciated his run. He was very fun. If you haven't watched it yet, I highly suggest it. The guy he was just enjoying himself, honestly.
Yeah, he was having. I just love at the end too. He's like, "Can we please show off this one glitch?"
Lightsaber,
It's so funny.
Yeah, and I mean, AGDQ, I think they raised the same amount of money pretty much as they did last time. Yes. So it wasn't really like a huge gain this year, but it was still the same. And the reason why I want to talk about that is because there was a little controversy this year because
wait.
Oh,
I want to ask a question. It might be related to this. Who won the Super Metroid speedrun this year?
There was no Super Metroid.
Yeah, they took it out.
That was a different controversy which I wasn't going to bring up, but
were you?
Yeah, that was not the one I was going to bring up.
Were you throwing some sly digs or?
Yeah,
that sounded pretty slick.
No Metroid end run this year. Instead, they ended on Breath of the Wild, which was an interesting run. As I've never seen a Breath of the Wild run before, and I know there's like hundreds of people doing it. But
they I think if I recall correctly, they did it at the last one, but the Breath of the Wild community said no one was going to speedrun it because it wasn't optimized yet. And because of that, I think the one they tried last year, or last, biannual or whatever, was kind of a mess.
Yeah, because
I think didn't they swap it in for like Chrono Trigger?
I don't remember.
And the one they did this year was like all dungeons, and I think the reason why was because they didn't want to do just go to Ganon's Castle because it's kind of not a really an interesting run. Yeah.
It's like the equivalent of all bosses in Dark Souls and Bloodborne.
Yeah.
It's just more interesting to watch it that way.
Yeah. But and I know before that they had like Super Dream World and like a Super Mario World like race, which was the big race this year was the Super Mario World race. And
which was still very good.
Yeah, it was really good.
I enjoyed that.
But
the Link to the Past randomized too was very fun.
Oh, I didn't know they ran that this year. I've been watching that.
They did.
I've just been watching that on like other people on Twitch, just watching them play randomized. So.
It was really funny because at the end, both of the runners got to Ganon's tower at the same time, and they like looked at each other and they fist bumped.
That was actually a really fun one to watch. Yeah.
Yeah, it was so fun.
Man, it was so close, and then
it was
obviously one of them. I don't want to spoil who won, but one of them did die on Ganon, and that was unfortunate. But
yeah, it was a great race.
I didn't know they did a run of that. But
yeah.
But anyway, the controversy I wanted to bring up, it was a bit of a controversy, was and this was the one that Average brought up to me, was about them limiting the chat to paid subscribers only, which was something they did this year because for some reason they didn't want people to talk if they weren't subscribed or if they didn't give bits. The only way you could talk was subscribed or by giving bits, so that was...
I'm just gonna start by saying I'm okay with this.
Yeah.
And there's a reason for that.
Mm-hmm.
There was a few other people that decided they wanted to restream the chat or restream the stream and just and just open the chat up to everybody. And apparently it was just full of very like racist and bigoted comments. That's filled with it.
That's what the past years have been on GDQ. If you've looked in the chat sometimes, it's like, okay, well, I just lost a few of my IQ points. But the problem is that people were, having this big controversy and blah, blah, blah. It was because, like, they had only raised the same amount of money this year, and usually they raise with a increase by quite a bit. And people were like, and I know...
can't expect it to all...
Yeah. And I know it's...
No, because actually they put that money back into the total donation at the end. If after the at the end show, they actually said that all the money that they got from the chat actually went into the donation total at the end, and that was the reason why. Yeah,
but I think still, even with that, it wasn't like a huge leap, and it is still over 2 million. It's still a lot of money. It's even though it wasn't a huge leap, it's still they're still at this massive point, and even if they slow down a little bit, it's still a huge amount of money. But
yeah, they still make a lot of money for charity.
Yeah, the reason why people were complaining and stuff was like, well, if I can't talk in chat, I'm not going to do this, and I'm not going to donate and stuff like that. And then people brought up the other point where if they're not going to donate because they can't speak in chat, were they really going to donate anyway? Like stuff like that. And so there was this big controversy around: did they lose money because they limited the chat to their paid subscribers only?
Also, did you guys see that before the Breath of the Wild run? Did you guys look at the chat at any point?
No, I didn't really watch much of it live.
So it was every single person for 20 minutes. I think they did a mass ban at that point, but it was like, hey devs, it's been fun. Free the plebs for the last run.
Oh, I saw that.
Yeah, it was just that. Everybody was spamming that for like a good 10 minutes before the run started. It was nothing but that in the chat. It was really, really stupid.
But yeah, so...
To be fair, that chat is usually really stupid.
It's true, but still,
it's hard when there's an anonymity of 600,000 people watching, across different platforms and stuff. So
there's a reason why I turn off chat when watching E3 or anything like that.
Yeah. Oh yeah, boy.
So.
Yeah, even on streams where there's only 5,000 people, sometimes I don't pay attention to chat. Sometimes it's just...
But sometimes it just moves so fast. You can't expect to even... you can't process all of that. It's too much. It's too much to process.
As Ted Stevens would say, it's a series of tubes. Don't clog them. Yeah. It's not a dump truck.
That helps cure the cancer in the chat as well. Thanks for that, Sir Carlton. All right.
Yeah, by limiting how many people could speak.
I will say this though.
It's a good one.
As far as runs go, there was only there's only a handful that I honestly really, really enjoyed watching. But I don't really care about them limiting the chat. Like, I don't really use the Twitch chat anyways, and no matter what people say in the Twitch chat, it rolls so quickly. None of that even matters.
Yeah.
And it also makes it easier for the mods.
Yeah, kind of. I mean,
well, I feel like the mods just don't even care. Most of the point, they're like, yeah, just let them run wild.
They can only watch it for so long until it's just like, who cares?
Yeah, it's like people will ignore it if they want.
Auto moderation would come into handy for those types of things.
I mean, they do have some auto moderation.
They do have some, yeah.
Like they block off some emotes and stuff like that. Like a lot of the Pepe emotes because they're racist or whatever.
Yeah, the Dan's game thing. I don't know if you are.
Yeah, that was another controversy. The Dan's game thing not being there. I was like, well, okay.
I was very happy though to see a all shine Mario Sunshine Run race.
Oh yeah,
that was fun.
Honestly, that game is crazy for speedrunning.
I mean, they still had all the solid races that they had. Like most of the solid races that they have had in past years, like Metroid with handing, but with holding. They had like the Skyrim run, which was changed since last year. They had, the Super Mario World runs. They had the Kaizo Mario World, which is Dram World this year.
And then the Zelda randomizer was there.
Yeah, Zelda randomizer. They have all their like heavy hitters there except for Metroid, and so I mean it was still those were all still good, but a lot of the in between games were just like, eh.
There's some really neat stuff with the Zelda randomizer.
Oh,
where they can give you different character sprites to play as.
The Zelda randomizer is...
there's like Inkling.
It's actually, I think, the best randomizer that's been created so far. So.
Oh, yeah.
It's really neat.
But anyway...
So on the topic of AGDQ, though, what games would you like to see run at the next one?
Tulip?
Demon Souls.
Mine's Odyssey, because I love Odyssey speedruns.
Odyssey is definitely... There's no way it's not going to be run. It's the only reason it wasn't run this year is because it's
because it was too late.
Too close to release.
AGDQ nipple run.
I mean,
honestly,
they let Resident Evil 7 come this year, so.
And that was another amazing one too. Actually, that guy was very lively.
Yeah, Carcinogen's a great runner.
Give us our VR AGDQ run.
Yeah, he said Carcinogen said while he was running Resident Evil 7, he's like, I could run VR, but it's just so tiring to actually do it, like whip your head around and do all this stuff. So
It was so funny though.
A lot of people have been getting into shape doing VR stuff, so that's part of the reason why I want to do this, so that I can game and get in shape. And the problem is also like you can't read chat, and you have to take breaks much more often than you have to just sitting on a couch, sitting, I don't know, 4 or 5 feet away from the TV at least.
Yeah.
So. Star Trek Bridge Crew is cross-platform.
Bring this back to VR, VR and cross-platform. Oh my goodness, Grin.
It's not just VR. You can play it outside of VR because I play it and I don't have VR. But we had every person we pugged into our group was VR. I think only one person wasn't. And one guy was petting an invisible cat the whole time.
I love it.
Well,
I don't really
say one more thing.
Yeah.
On the AGD. Okay. Because normally I despise watching RPGs running. I hate watching mini swapping. I think if the game is if it takes more than 3 or 4 hours to run the game, don't speedrun that. Dragon Warrior. For those of you who don't know, it was the Dragon Quest RPG, the very first one, and this guy.
Oh man!
I don't remember what his name was. Literally TAS levels of beautiful.
Yeah, I love that run.
He was like, you manage the game by keeping track of the frames, and that modifies the RNG to where you can choose what spawns, how much damage something will do, like if it'll critically strike, everything down to the wire. He was 2 minutes away from a world record at AGDQ, and there were 2 world records broken at AGDQ, a racing, the burnout thing, and then one other thing. But
That burnout thing was so weird.
The burnout one was really weird. Yeah.
It was like
But-
I was like, I'm kind of falling asleep.
But like, oh my god, I was so enthralled. It's
Yeah,
just,
it was
it's
like
a,
he was just
it's
like
an RPG, but he was like explaining every little thing of how they were adjusting the RNG to work
and he was
for
like-
them.
I know he's like, oh yeah, so now we're just gonna run into this metal slime right here.
Yep.
Like he's like, oh,
Chaining
so
metal
good.
slimes 4 times in a row and then critically striking each time. I was just like, this is speedrunning. This
Yeah,
is
it's like
this
it's the
is it.
Pokemon one, but on steroids.
This is speed run. I have become the speed run.
he's become the
Yeah.
speedrun.
It was basically like a better version of the Pokemon speedrun.
Oh yeah.
I never
Oh,
really liked the Pokemon speedruns that much.
speedruns are, man, they are some crazy.
They're
Hit or miss.
interesting.
Easily optimized things. Yeah, they're
They're-
either like amazing or oh my god, what happened?
I find them really
and
interesting.
this was a
but,
bad
yeah.
one, I feel like, this year.
Yeah, I find them really interesting, but
Yeah.
they aren't really the most entertaining for me. I find them interesting the
the-
way they, do RNG and stuff. But yeah.
Speaking of Pokemon, do you remember Twitch
Oh, no.
Plays Pokemon
Yes.
or Fish
Oh, of course.
Plays Pokemon?
I actually have the fan-made ROM hack, cartridged, Pokemon Twitch Plays Pokemon edition.
Oh no.
It's a really bad
Beautiful.
ROM. It's very bad. It's very hard and very bad, and I love it.
Well, mostly people just end up saving a whole lot or moving in the upper right corner of a building and just getting stuck there because everyone's saying stupid stuff and they can't obviously work together. But what about other Twitch interactive games kind of like that? Like what was that one where you have the little stick figure-ish type of dude and it's a platformer? I can't remember what it's called.
The only stick figure games I know about are the
platformer?
loathing games.
Like Doodle
I
Pants
got
or whatever the heck
no
that name
idea.
of that was.
No, it's I don't remember what it's called, but it's
don't know.
it's free, but you can also buy it to support the devs, and they've
It was-
done a lot of additions
only-
to it. There's you start with a bow. There's also a hammer and a sword. Choice
Choice
chamber. That's
chamber.
it.
Choice chamber. That's not a stick
Yeah.
figure. What?
No.
I, don't
still
know.
have
I
no
haven't
idea.
seen it in like a year or two, so
Yes, that's a very interactive Twitch game, and I mean on that subject, a lot of Twitch games are doing like Twitch interactive mode, like Cluster Truck and Hand of Fate 2
there's
and
a
stuff
game-
like that.
There's a game that I have not gone around to playing yet that is called Streamlabs, and it was specifically apparently made for streamers to play.
Streamlabs.
Or not
oh no,
Streamlabs.
you mean oh
I'm-
shoot, what?
Falling asleep. What is it called? I gotta find it now.
I have a pin from it from TwitchCon 2016. No, 2016, 2017.
Streamline.
Streamline. I was about to say
Yeah.
Streamlabs. It's a game.
Yeah.
That was a program.
Streamline.
Yeah, it bombed on launch because it was like unplayable.
Oh, really?
I have no idea what that is.
Well, speaking about Streamlabs, hey Herp Derp, you brought up Streamlabs OBS was the only thing you wrote for the topic. So, care to explain?
Yeah. Do you guys know what that is at all?
It's a program
Streamlabs?
for
Or
OBS.
Streamlabs OBS.
Yeah.
So yeah,
Like, tells you people are following, right? Stuff like that.
No, well, yeah, they actually came out with their own OBS system.
Oh wow,
for-
I didn't
for
know
Twitch.
about
I personally
good?
really like it. You can actually, when you first start it up, you can actually link your OBS to it, and it will transfer all of your slides over to it. And your slides will still be on OBS, and if you don't like it, then all your slides are just there already. And it's like 5 clicks, and then yeah, you're on there. And they have basically different panels where you can download overlays if you ever wanted to start everything over, start from scratch. They have the editing thing there, and then they have a going live mode, which basically it shows you a preview of what your stream is looking like. They show you if someone followed you on the OBS in case you missed the little pop-up there. Twitch chat's right there as well, and then you can change your information right from the OBS.
Nice. That's really interesting.
It's actually been really helpful. I've been using it for my streams, and it's amazing.
Yeah, I didn't even mess with
It's
like
really easy.
base Streamlabs, because I mean, I don't really. I'm kind of just like a chill person where I just stream, and then if I see someone in chat, I'm like, hey, how's it going, whatever. But
Yeah.
so I'd never really messed with base Streamlabs, but basically it's their own program that's OBS.
Yeah, it's their own OBS, and it's been really fun to use. It's been really helpful in a lot of ways. Because it's just a lot easier to just have everything there, and I don't even have to open up my Twitch to change information if I'm going to play a second game.
You gotta watch out for the automatic data.
You cut out there.
They will okay, so as I was saying before I cut out, you have to watch out for programs that automatically update your anything. Like, does it automatically update it, or do you just type it in?
No, you do it manually from the OBS.
Because the PS4 automatic game detection sometimes just deletes it on Twitch. And it's like, your game field is empty. It's like, oh, thanks, guys. Now nobody can tell that I'm playing something.
Huh.
But yeah, I really despise Streamlabs. Like, absolutely.
Really?
You remember when they were still Twitch alerts?
Yeah.
And they're still led by the same guy. They would bully, harass, and and do all sorts of nasty things to competitors. And now they're trying to build themselves up as a monopoly. They're finally not being assholes about it, but they're still assholes.
Yeah, but it took some time to not be assholes.
Yeah.
Like, a guy had to basically go into hiding because the owner of Streamlabs, then Twitch Alerts, was basically doxing and
oh jeez,
almost like there was a point where he was afraid he was going to get swatted because they would like the Twitch Alerts employees would come into his chat and just be super toxic.
Well,
it was really nasty.
Well,
and
I was actually gonna pivot off of that. But if you have,
I just want to say that, like, I also had to stop using Onkbot because Streamlabs bought it.
Yeah, I am aware of that. I actually am aware of that.
So I was all, well, I got to stop using this now because I'm not a fan.
Huh. Well, I'm not a fan of what Chick-fil-A does in Africa, but I still eat their food. So
I don't. I also don't eat chickens.
But anyway, pivoting onto since you brought it up,
Chick-fil-A.
Onto Chick-fil-A. They got some chicken tenders. Let me tell you.
I'm just saying, I'm addicted to Chick-fil-A. It's a terrible, terrible thing.
No, really.
I literally can't. I know, literally. I can't
go
stop eating Chick-fil-A.
Go to Chick-fil-a's. Chick-fil-A Anonymous.
I've never actually had it.
They're not really a thing up in the north.
Yeah.
Okay,
we had a friend who he came down from Canada.
Because there's Chick-fil-A like a few blocks from my house.
Actually, pivoting to something else.
The chicken.
Wait, don't you want to know all about like fun facts about Chick-fil-A?
Oh, since you brought it up, Grin, swatting actually is getting some laws in place to make it completely illegal.
Yes.
So
it was already illegal.
It was already illegal, but it's getting some laws in place that make it very illegal now.
Like it was actually a federal offense.
Yeah.
Because
there's some stuff about that.
There's all sorts of like infractions for it, but now it's finally getting some traction in law to make it harder for people to SWAT. It's allowing it's putting in new protocols for police officers so that they know what the hell is like that they shouldn't just go in guns blazing. Like they shouldn't have already have known that first. Like, can't you scout or perform some form of recon of the target? Like,
well, I don't know if you guys remember, this is a while back, and the streamer did get reprimanded by Twitch.
Was it Ice Poseidon?
No, no, he okay.
No, let's not go off on this tangent right now. No. I don't.
I'm not doing that. I'm not touching that.
Keep Twitch drama away. Keep it away.
That is not what I'm fixing to talk about. But
no live stream fails here, please.
That is he's his own deal. But no, shit. What was I saying? Oh, Man, yeah, you can't do that. What? Oh man.
Are you thinking about the guy that did it like a few weeks ago, and the reason why the laws are getting in place?
This is a while back. No, this is further back. It was this guy named Trick 2G.
Oh, Trick 2G, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh.
Is that the guy on the airplane?
No. He got he quote unquote got swatted, and then come find out later, there was no recording. Like there was nothing that said he got swatted. So he faked it. For the sake of trying to get people to like, oh my god, he got swatted.
Unfortunate.
That sounds like a particular person who bear maced himself at a rally.
Yeah,
and then got banned off of Twitter.
Well, anyway, the reason why these laws are getting in place is because a few weeks ago, a Twitch COD streamer threatened another Twitch COD streamer, and the other Twitch COD streamer sent him $1.50. And sent him a fake address, and so he sent the SWAT to that address, and they killed father there, the father of a young child, and he had a family and all that stuff. So yeah, now there's a lot of laws getting in place.
Didn't he actually get?
He got arrested.
Was it? Yeah, he did.
Both of the COD people got arrested, but I believe the one that got the SWAT sent to him got let go. So
I honestly think all three of them should have.
I don't think the guy who was supposedly going to get swatted should be like punished. But
he did give out a fake address.
Yeah, I mean that's bad that he gave out a fake address, but I mean, for somebody else, especially over what, $1.50, like
$1.50, yeah.
Like, really? Not even. I mean, there's no amount of money that you know, like, oh, you know, well, he did this much money. Like, there is no reasonable amount of money to swat somebody. Don't think I'm saying to swat anyone, but like, you can't do that. I mean, really, people.
Well,
yeah,
swatting is shitty. Yeah, I mean, everyone pretty much knew that, but
swatting is bad. Okay.
Yeah, that was a spur of the moment topic. But this is probably gonna be our last topic, and I'm gonna talk about. Has anyone else noticed Twitch being a little problematic lately? Has anyone else noticed that?
Are we talking about the latency issues?
The issues involving streams going down, streams not buffering correctly, audio being desynced in streams and stuff like that.
Yeah, that's been an issue since AGDQ.
Yeah, I'll explain what happened. I'll explain what happened, basically. AGDQ was happening. It was in the middle of AGDQ, and they still had some decent numbers. And what happened is Tyler1, which is the very popular Twitch streamer, finally got unbanned from League of Legends and did an unbanning return stream. And he came back, and he got 400,000 people on this one stream, and it nuked Twitch's servers. And ever since then, Twitch has had some overarching problem that makes it so all the streams lately have been kind of fucked up for some reason. And no one really knows why except for Twitch, and Twitch hasn't said anything, so there's something going on there, and I don't really know.
Yeah, that was honestly, that guy, he had some pretty cool stuff. I'm glad they finally unbanned him. The reasoning behind it being essentially that one rioter said something that was pretty foul-mouthed, basically saying that he's not a problem, he's going to die from testicular cancer from him being roided up or whatever.
Homunculus.
So he said a bunch of bad things. They finally unbanned him. And he pulled the most numbers on Twitch ever for a single person, dwarfing AGDQ, dwarfing the numbers for PUBG, Dota. Everyone was combined. It was just lower than him. So kudos to him for his hard work and determination for that. But holy cow, Twitch. I thought that was.
Don't be like Steam. Fix your issues.
I thought that was a problem on my end. I was like, oh man, I've been having a lot of issues.
I thought so too, honestly.
I didn't realize it was like a.
No, yeah, Twitch has been having some global issues lately.
Yikes.
And I don't know if like when Tyler1 streamed, one of their servers like caught on fire or something, and like they haven't been able to repair it yet, or like they haven't been able to get a
I don't
replacement.
know. He's a hell of a showman. I'll say that. He is a hell of a
He knows how to
showman.
work his audience. But yeah, that's that. Unfortunately, Twitch has been just no response, and it feels like it's, especially since Twitch just rolled out this like new video program thing that they're doing where they're trying to compete with YouTube. It feels like Twitch is pulling a YouTube with this no response.
Well,
They're becoming like YouTube in more ways than one.
Yeah, unfortunately.
I don't know. YouTube.
That's
That's a topic for another day.
Yeah.
That would be like
You
an entire stream.
We don't need
That's
to.
the ice Poseidon of talking about websites.
Yeah, this is gonna be. I mean,
Too
this
much.
is. We could probably talk about YouTube once, but we're never gonna talk about probably like the live stream fail side of Twitch and stuff. Like the
Yeah.
Twitch
I
drama.
mean,
I'd prefer to stay away from that just because.
Honestly,
It's-
that is its
That I
own
can agree with.
You know,
can of worms.
I'd rather
that
not be
it's like-
Destiny and all that crap. So
I feel like some people they get a lot more shit than they deserve, and then
Yeah.
I think there are other people who don't get enough shit.
oh yeah,
And that's what I'm
definitely.
that's and that's where I'm
100%.
gonna leave it. I'm gonna say that,
100%
and
true.
I'm done
Yeah.
talking about it.
All right. Well, that's the show. We talked about gaming and Twitch. Who would have guessed? We're gonna we're gonna do a little bit of shout outs. Thank you everyone from the Fourth Wall Enclave for being here and for making this possible. We will be here again next week at the same time on Wednesday, the February the 7th at 6, probably to 8 again. Around 2 hours seems like a healthy time with 4 people. I don't know if it's probably not going to be the same 4 people, but we'll see. And we're going to do some shout-outs individually. Emperor Grinnar, feel free to pimp your channel.
All right, I'm Emperor Grinner. It's spelled Grinnar.
Mhm.
ER. It's AR.
Mhm.
Hey, cut out.
Woo!
It's yes, it's on the screen if you need to know how to spell it.
Yeah. Well, I mean, what if?
Yeah, that's
you
true.
put it-
Grinnar. There you go.
Yeah, it's not ER. It's AR.
This podcast will be available on Audible. Audible.com.
Audible. And we thank our sponsors today, Dollar Shave Club.
Oh my god.
Make sure to hit that bell icon.
Thank you, Squarespace, for coming out and anyway.
Can we get sponsored by Sony since we kind of like
Suck their dicks.
pimp them out a little bit?
Anyway, Grin, is that all you had to say?
No, I play video games most days on Twitch. You can catch me at my channel, /Emperor Grinner. And catch us on Discord. I'm usually on there fairly active.
He's the leader of the bunch. You know him well.
If I'm not chatting, I might be lurking.
Okay. Herb Derb Derby. Feel free to pimp your channel and your business that you're talking about.
Yeah.
Oh.
I am Herp Derp Derpy 1 on Twitter. And I stream Tuesdays and Thursdays around like 12 p.m. Pacific Standard Time when I get free. But yeah, and if you are interested in like toys or clothing, I have an eBay business called AMS Auction House. If you are wanting to find some very weird stuff on there. So yeah, thank you so much for having me.
Yeah, no problem. And last but not least, The Average Gatsby.
Yeah, on Twitch as @VerageGatsby because The Average Gatsby was too long. And for some reason on Twitch, I am The Average Stream rather than The Average Gatsby. There is not an Average Gatsby on Twitch, but Twitch won't let me have that as my name. So,
That's really weird.
yay! I do.
More Twitch controversies brought out.
Yeah, I'm Twitch fraud.
Keep the stream going.
But,
Frauds.
I usually just do video games, when I'm not teaching and dealing with garbage in graduate school. Just do it for fun. I do it for free. He does it for free. So come check me out if you want to watch somebody get mad at League of Legends.
Nice. Yeah, you were doing that today, getting mad at
Oh my god, so mad.
And I'm your host, Paggigalo. You can find me pretty much any day of the week, sporadically streaming. I don't really have a set schedule right now, except for Tuesdays, where I stream weird visual novels that I found on the internet that are not popular because I want to kill myself. But anyway, and that's basically me. You can find me everywhere: Twitch, Twitter, YouTube, Paggigalo. That's my name. And right now, I guess I'm streaming Hand of Fate 2, Tales of Berseria. Those are the games I'm streaming sporadically.
Tales of Berseria. How are you enjoying that?
It's okay.
Something?
Not. I mean, this is my first Tales game, so.
Oh, okay. I've played like 2, and I honestly always have a good time.
My friend got me into it because I like Berserk, which it's kind of very similar to.
I love Berserk.
Yeah. Anyway.
Are we still on the boat?
Anyway, thank you so much for watching. Everyone on Twitch for coming out. Shout out special to Carlton and Rigo. I know is here as well, and anyone else that was lurking in the background. Thank you so much. We will be here next week, like I said, February the 7th, Wednesday the 7th, at the same time, 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So, this is the first episode. I think it went well. What does everyone else think? You guys think it went well? Huh?
I think it went average.
Yeah, that was really fun.
Think it went average?
Fun,
oh. The average Gatsby thinks it went average. Oh.
It was that's pretty much a compliment.
Yeah, it must be.
Yeah, it is my highest compliment I can give is that it was very average. It was good.
Yeah, and what you can look forward to next week if you tune in is us talking about more games on Twitch. Probably Shadow of the Colossus, because it will come out the day before.
Oh my!
Blah blah blah. So anyway, thank you. See you next week. And I don't have elevator music queued up, so.
Wait, no.
This has been the FWEP.
I was gonna do. Always look on the bright side.
I agree.
You know what, Grin? That's a great way to end it. You know what, Grin? That's it.
Look on the bright side of what?
Bright side of cutting out with your microphone. It's
the bright side of life. Always look on the.
Thank you for watching. Goodbye.